expressed in this program by the host or guests do not state or reflect those of the company, its management, sponsors, or any entities they represent.
Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis, and breaking scoreboards. Simone of the Olympics, defense and big business. The Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer.
DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz, Sports, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at DeeTrynt or at InDaStreetzSportz. If you missed the live streamings, you can catch the replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the InDaStreetzSportz channel. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. You can do the same thing. Welcome. What's going on with you all? I'm stealing me a little time at the job spot right now to come in and talk to y'all about these Cleveland Browns, all right? And it's real, right? Because something just happened recently. And that something that happened was roster cuts. Yes, we had roster cuts. What do you mean? It's a bad photo. 100%. Is that better? Oh, hold on. Yeah, so I'm in the middle of finalizing some paperwork for my job, right? Got a random email, you know how that goes. But speaking on these Browns and roster cuts, it was interesting. Some people stayed that we figured would stay. Some people are gone that people were probably surprised are gone. Man, what are we doing? OMG. Hold on, y'all. The problem is I'm not a picture taker, right? You ask me to do something I'm not even good at. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm a horrible picture taker, okay? I don't even think men should be taking selfies, all right? I've never been a fan of that. I don't even know how to take a selfie, okay? I couldn't even begin to tell you what finding the right angle to do this really means, right? All right, so let's talk about this while I got a little time because it was just super quiet. I feel like every time I get ready to come in and chat with y'all, a whole bunch of unnecessary things pop up to just try to make my life hard. So, few guys stayed, few guys left, right? Let's talk about, ooh, it's saved. Thank you. All right, so just so y'all know, right, I keep forgetting to say the touch screen, right? I had to do my paperwork. So, check this out. The Browns, the biggest news from roster cuts, right? Which I don't understand why this is the biggest news, but the biggest news I heard from roster cuts yesterday was DTR was guaranteed a spot on a 53-man roster. And the Browns are shopping either Tyler Huntley or Jameis Winston. All right. Now, some people say, oh, Deshaun Watson don't want Jameis Winston there because he don't want to feel like he got competition. That's how he did it with Joe Flacco. Okay. That just seems so asinine, right? And at some point, right, we'll have the links up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to come up. I got a little time to spare. think I got about 30 or 35 minutes, so I can really spare and chop it up with y'all. But we had the links in wherever we streaming from. You get in the chat, go ahead and put you, and we're talking to you, right? So I was kind of mind boggled because I'm trying to figure out how is this mind boggling, right? The whole point of being in a position of leadership, especially when it comes to running one's finances, is making good business decisions. Good business decisions leave you with multiple options. A good business decision solidifies you in one place, but it always leaves the opportunity for you to transition into another set if need be on the fly without missing a beat. It gives you multiple options to be able to have multiple ways to succeed, regardless of how many random obstacles are thrown in your way. That is good business. Some people think good business is showing loyalty. Sometimes loyalty is just a segue to be manipulated. But this is a whole nother conversation, right? So DTR staying is not shocking. DTR is being groomed as the quarterback behind Deshaun, regardless of what goes on. If DTR elevates and Deshaun Watson keeps on this trajectory of not being able to, complete seasons and get back to a form that he was at, then you have DTR as leverage to say, okay, we can shop Deshaun or let him walk, and we have DTR. But he's not ready to be like the backup yet. I would say he would still need another season, right? So you signed Jameis for a year and Tyler Huntley for a year. The whole point of having them was insurance. If DTR doesn't progress and we have to move on from him, we have at least two quarterbacks who are veterans in this league who are still young who can come in and play at a high level. All right. If DTR does pan out, then we can figure out which one of these guys don't pan out. And if all four pans out, which means Watson, DTR, Winston, and Huntley, then you could trade one of the two remaining, right? You're going to keep Deshaun because he's the starter. You're going to keep DTR because not only is it cost efficient, but it's more smarter, and he's younger. Tyler Huntley or Jameis Winston. Somebody out here needs a backup or they need a regular starter or something, right? What y'all going to give me for him? The Browns could very well go into the season with 4 quarterbacks. Don't think Andrew Berry ain't above it. Okay, he definitely going to the season with 4 quarterbacks, and he will make one of y'all trade. You got to understand, he traded draft picks to get Deshaun. He's traded draft picks to make other moves. Of course, if he could use players that he could just get for a couple dollars and turn them into multiple draft picks, that's smart business. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So that was like the biggest news, right? I'm happy for DTR. I want him to say, if it's my choice, I'm trading Tyler Huntley. If I'm Andrew Berry, I'm trading Tyler because Tyler Huntley is not going to have the locker room impact that Jameis Winston is going to have. And you need a guy like that to be able to take some of the pressure off of your star quarterback. So if it's me, the quarterback room is Watson, Winston, and Thompson Robinson, right? With Thompson Robinson as the third emergency quarterback on game day, as the rule was implemented last year, that would be my case, right? So we got those 4 guys. Well, at least those 4 guys. If they're looking to trade one of the guys, then clearly somebody's coming up. All right. So we got guys who were waived, right? And these guys who were waived are most likely guys who can be picked up back on the Browns practice squad, unless somebody, snatches them up off the waiver wire. Rookie defensive tackle Jawan Briggs, wide receiver Amarion Brown, wide receiver Jalen Darden, safety Christopher Edmonds, defensive tackle Siaki Ika, defensive tackle Sam Kamara, tight end Zaire Mitchell-Payton, linebacker Winston, tackle Lorenzo Thomas, tight end Trayton Welch, Wide receiver Michael was the second. Contracts terminated. This means that these guys, all right, so these waiver wire guys are like, a person couldn't just sign them out of free agency right off. You would have to take these guys from the waiver wire, get them on your practice squad, and then you can go through a process of signing them to a contract, right? That's why the Browns waived them versus terminated their contract. And they still get paid by the Browns. It's just dependent. Contracts terminated. These guys are outright free agents. They can go wherever they want to go right now, right? Cornerback Tony Brown II, running back Deonta Foreman, cornerback Justin Hardy Sr., tackle Jermaine Ifedi, and wide receiver James Prochet II. All right. And then we get into the we get into the place on reserve non-football illness, right? So Michael Dunn, this guarantees him a spot on the 53-man roster by being placed on injury reserve. What happened was he had to make the 53-man roster, and then they put him on the injury reserve, which now frees up a space for them to bring on somebody else. Injury reserve has levels, right? There's multiple variations of it, right? So you have running back Nyheim Hines placed on non-football injury reserve, right? Again, this is a guy who makes the 53-man roster, but because his injury doesn't allow him to play right now or be ready for week one, he'll probably sit out the first 4 weeks of the season. Michael Dunn, I think he may sit out for the first 4 weeks of the season as well. Then you have the pup, physically unable to perform list. I think this is a 6-week thing for Nicholas Chubb. Again, he makes the 53-man roster, but then he's placed on the PUP list, which opens up another roster spot. So out of the 53-man roster that we have, already 3 spots are opened up to bring up players, right? Nick Chubb coming off that knee injury, a guy everybody is really looking forward to coming back. They say he's ready to go now, but all of us who love Nick Chubb do not want to see him playing week one. Okay. We would love to see him come back later on in the season and be ready for the playoffs. So I think this PUP list is the 6-week reserve, which means he'll be good for game 7. If he's not necessarily good for game 7, he'll at least be able to be activated by game 7. We'll see how it play out. Second-year center Luke Weipler, guy who went down earlier in training camp. Well, actually went down in the second preseason game. But he is out. I think Weipler out for the season. So he makes the 53-man roster, but he is now placed on full season injury reserve. We won't see him until next year. That's 4 roster spots that are opened up. You got the place on exempt commissioner permission list. So exempt list is defensive tackle Michael Hall Jr., the second-round pick from the previous draft. The thing with this list is he got into an off-the-field issue. He got into an off-the-field situation. But because the police were involved, he has to wait for what the commissioner has to say about his specific case. Then they'll go ahead and, make a final thing, about what's going on. So that's 5 roster spots, right? Because even though he's not injured, he cannot suit up until he talks to Roger Goodell. All right. And then you have way from injured reserve list. So this guy is, I guess he's on the injured reserve list. And then because they don't plan on keeping him, he's being waived. So the team still has rights to him per se, but somebody can claim him from the waiver wire. It's just that if they do, they have to deal with his injury. I don't think nobody wants to pick a player up off the waiver wire that's already injured. So, we'll see how that plays out for the Browns. So that's what 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 roster spots that have reopened up to see what they're going to do. Now let's get into the guys that actually made the roster. All right. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, Industry Sports. Streaming on multiple media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at InDaStreetzSportz or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live recordings, you can catch replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the Industry Sports channel, subscribe, like, share, follow. Once you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly, DeeTrynt. Make sure you do the same. Today, we're just going over the Browns, roster cuts, cats who made the roster, and give a little bit of feedback on what I think some of these things mean and what we may be looking forward to in the upcoming days or weeks. So, let's talk about the interesting takes that the Browns took, right? And as I go through these things, I'll say why I think they chose to go this route versus the other options other people may present, right? The whole goal, it's hard for me not to want to eat this chicken, though, yo. I know I can't eat one, but I really want to eat, though, right? So the whole goal is to get the best 53 on the team, on the field, right? Which ends up being 50 per se, right? So the Browns were with 4 quarterbacks: Huntley, Thompson Robinson, Watson, and Jameis Winston. All right. They went with 2 running backs, Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong Jr. So those would be the opening day backs. I think what the Browns may be looking forward to doing is seeing if somebody that they could, pair may come free, right? If that doesn't happen, because of the evolution of the offensive system right now, they may be able to use some of the short passing game as extended handoffs to not overwork these 2 guys. But I think they still want to look to add a piece at this position. 6 wide receivers: David Bell, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Jamari Thrash, and Cedric Tillman. Very happy that they chose to keep these specific individuals. I do like Michael Woods. I would love for him to make the cut, but I understand that he's battling back from an injury, and there's nothing about Tillman and Thrash that makes you not want to keep them. David Bell has been consistent with the opportunities he's been given. He hasn't done anything to be taken out of the competition, so he had no reason to be cut. Jerry Jeudy is a new addition, and so is Elijah Moore, and I don't think they have as much seniority as David Bell. So, of course, Amari's the number 1. So now we have 12 players, right? 4 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 6 receivers. 2 tight ends: Jordan Akins and David Njoku. This is it. So between the quarterback position and all the skill positions on offense, they only went with 14 players, which is really going to be 13 when they decide to trade which I think is going to be Huntley. When they trade Huntley, I'm pretty sure Huntley is going to get traded, right? I don't think people are going to give up something reasonable to get Jameis Winston. So Huntley is the trade. Come on, man. Watch out. I don't have time for none of that. Hold on, y'all. All right. So now let's get to the offensive line. All right. This is a big thing. All right. And I kind of figured they were going to probably try to keep 10 guys because so many guys are either coming back from injury or injured. So who in the fuck is calling me from the Netherlands? I don't even know nobody over there. Okay. All right. So come on, bro. We're not doing it. Okay. So offensive line: Joe Batonio at left guard, Jack Conklin, who is now playing the backup swing tackle position, Javion Cohen, who is a rookie guard that they picked up, Nick Harris, who was reacquired after the injury to Luke Weichler, James Huntley III, who's been here about 4 seasons now. He's going to probably play the left tackle. I think he's going to play swing tackle as well. Him and Conklin, I guess Conklin will be the first reserve, and he'll be the second one. DeJuan Jones, who is now the starting right tackle. Ethan Pochich, who is the starting center. Wyatt Teller, who is the starting right guard. Jedrick Wills, who was the starting left tackle, and Zach Zinter, who was the rookie guard that they just drafted from Michigan. So saying this, it tells me, for one, the Browns really value what's in the trenches. Because out of all these positions, this is the group that got the most player personnels in it, for whatever reason. So between your position players, your quarterbacks, and your line, they have 24 players. And they have a quality 24 players on this offense. I like what they did right there. I'm not mad at him. And we're saying this with the fact that, certain guys made the roster, but then they had to be put here, right? Okay. Defensive line. We was all wondering, how many players on the defensive line would the Browns choose? How many would they keep? What would be a reasonable thing? How would they do it? So what they decided to do was Myles Garrett, of course. Then you have Shelby Harris, the veteran. Maurice Hurst, the second, who really showed a lot of promise last year. Quentin Jefferson, who could be an X factor piece for us, could give us more than what we paid for. All right? And that's what we want, because we would like to lock a good player like that in. Isaiah McGuire, who's in his second year, he's a defensive end. Double O. All right. Obaniah Okoronkwo. All right, but let's call him Double O. He's playing defensive end. Zadarius Smith, playing defensive end. Dalvin Tomlinson, and Alex Wright. Now, I think this is very interesting because I don't think Dalvin Tomlinson will start the season. I don't know if he's going to be put on the reserve, but I don't know if he's going to start the season. So, interchanging, Shelby Harris or Maurice Hurst, Quentin Jefferson, that's going to go real invaluable because you can always move Miles over or Dow or Zadarius, right? The Browns went with 6 linebackers, and I figured they would go with 6 linebackers because they don't, they haven't been solidified enough in this position group to just run with 5, right? Newly acquired Devin Bush, second-year man Mahmoud Diabite, fourth-year man Tony Fields II, veteran linebacker this offseason's acquisition Jordan Hicks, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, okay, and that is the guy who got the extension, and then the rookie linebacker Nathaniel Watson, all right? And now we go to the defensive back room. You don't understand. We should start with our whole secondary, all right? We got DeAnthony Bell, Grant Delpit, Martin Emerson, Khalif Halasi, Miles Harden, Ronnie Hickman, Rodney McLeod, Cameron Mitchell, Greg Newsom II, Juan Thorhill, and Denzel Ward. Specialist. Corey Bororquez is still the punter. Dustin Hopkins is still the kicker. And Charlie Hewlett is still the long snapper. All right. So the linebacker core is what is I'm kind of most looking at this year. I think a lot of, like I say, some of these guys that got waived, I think a lot of these guys will end up on the practice squad. Kendrew Berry will definitely be looking to try to add some pieces in certain places. I think he could be in the market for upgrade at the backup defensive tackle position if it's smart. I think he's always looking for an upgrade in the backup linebacker room, even though I think that's pretty solid right now. Also think, he's definitely looking for a running back, right? And most likely he's looking for a tight end. Because having 3 is better than having 2, right? So, so far I think the roster construction for the Browns is going pretty well, especially when you're building off what you already have established foundationally, and then you're just filling in the gaps where you may have, misstep or, you got to replace some things, right? I think the Browns are doing a really good job. I'm looking forward to the home opener. We are all here getting ready for the home opener. It is going to be crazy. Dallas is going to be in the house September 8th. It will be the first home opener in the afternoon for the Browns in 30 years. Cleveland is going to be crazy. I'm pretty sure Muni Lot is going to be jumping all morning and all afternoon before they even get in here to watch the game, right? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, streaming on multiple media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Follow us on IG at InDaStreetzSportz or at DeeTrynt. If you missed the live records, you catch replays on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and various other streaming platforms. Just look for the InDaStreetzSportz channel. Like, subscribe, share, follow. When you get in there, you'll see Game Changer Sports Talk with yours truly. Make sure you do the same. So yeah, today was just about, just getting a little information out about, roster cuts, people who made a 53-man roster, why certain decisions was made, a little feedback from what I think, and things that may happen over the next couple weeks leading into the actual home opener, right? Nobody's playing football this week. We won't see our first game again until next Thursday when the regular season kickoff happens. Then we're actually going to get a game on Friday. From the We're getting a Thursday game, we're getting a Friday game. Then we're getting games on Sunday and Monday. I think Friday's game is in Mexico. So, hey, the NFL trying to expand, right? Look, by all means, get your money, all right? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk. I thank you all for tuning in, for chopping it up with me. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share. We'll have some follow-up articles for this specific podcast coming up soon. Be a little more detailed about certain things. Maybe a little insight that you didn't have before, right? It's always a pleasure. Be good for all my Cleveland and Ohio people. Enjoy this great weather while we got it. It won't last long. All right? You all be easy. Stay blessed. One.